Welcome back to Inside the Helmet. It's another Wednesday evening, and so we bring to you another episode. I hope you enjoy this one. My name's Michael. My dad's joining me as well.
Hola.
Hola, ¿cómo está?
Um, you'd think I'd remember more high school Spanish.
I didn't even take it nice.
Muy bien.
There you go.
Gracias.
Well, better than me. I didn't take Spanish after fifth grade, so.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I actually took some in college, so
Hmm.
you'd think that would help, but it really doesn't.
Yeah, now I'm expecting you to host the entire episode. No, I'm kidding.
I am bilingual, though, because I speak both English and Pig Latin.
All right, whatever. Um. We're going to start off with a question that you actually brought up to me earlier today.
Yeah.
It's kind of an interesting hypothetical that is football related, so it is, related to the topics of the podcast. But go ahead and introduce what this hypothetical is.
Yeah, it just crossed my mind the other day. It's a would you rather question. And interesting to hear your take, and then I'll give you my take on it. If you're on a football team, would you rather be a starter on a mediocre team, not an awful team, one that's competitive, right? But not a championship team, but you're the starter? Or would you rather be a backup who really doesn't see the field on a championship team?
Do you want to go first, or should I?
No, you go ahead.
Okay. Well, I believe that I would rather be a backup on a championship team for a few reasons. Now, this isn't just me saying, "Oh, I want to ride the coattails of other people's success and, get a ring for doing nothing." Although that, is not the worst job in the world. Um, but I've been over the course of my playing career, I've been on many different teams, run by many different coaches with different philosophies of not just coaching, but just how to run a program. And, some were more winning, more successful than others. And I've just noticed that I personally enjoy the environment and the culture of more successful programs. I know that may sound pretty obvious to say, but like programs that are successful usually have a lot better culture. They're a lot more well put together as a team.
Yeah.
There's a lot stronger feeling of brotherhood and camaraderie than, some teams that aren't quite as good, that maybe some of their struggles come from a lack of a team environment, at least one that's as healthy. So I also feel like being a part of a successful program would certainly enable me access to likely better facilities and better coaching so that I could personally become even better, even if I still remain a backup, because the successful team has an even better player. I feel like I personally would become a better quarterback, thanks to the superior coaching and help I would receive on a successful team as opposed to a lesser team, even if I was the starter.
Yeah. Okay. All valid points, and there's really not a wrong answer here. It's just different ways of looking at it. I know that when I was a player, I was never a part of a championship team, and so I don't have that to draw from. But I think I would argue the other side.
Okay.
Not that I don't see your points. They're all good, but the one thing I was thinking about was, this goes more to coaching. I've done a dozen years or more of coaching, and most of those years I was the head coach. I was the one calling the plays and running the practices, and everything, good or
Mm-hmm.
bad, or whether it worked or not, was my choice. And there was one year, I'm sure you remember this. Uh, you were, I don't know, eighth grade maybe,
Okay.
and we were playing in a league, and there were not enough people signed up. They didn't have enough teams to where I could be your coach and have enough guys. And so the
Mm-hmm.
director of the league said, "Look, I really want Michael to come play quarterback for me. And why don't you, Dad, come along and just be an assistant coach?" Right?
Mm-hmm.
So
I
I was
remember.
I was essentially a backup coach.
Yeah.
It wasn't my team to run. I had zero input. Uh, if your team won or lost, it really didn't have much to do with me. I mean, I contributed where I could, but it really didn't fall on my shoulders. And now that team, as you remember, fell
Mm-hmm.
just short of a championship, but they did make the championship game
Yep.
in a very closely contested game. So it was like an almost championship situation.
Certainly.
Obviously, I prefer the times when I was the head coach and we won championships, but I think that was my least favorite season as a coach because I really didn't have any input. And just translating that to being a player, I think if I'm out there on the field, I know whenever I played, I always felt like we were going to win and that I could do something as a player to help us win, whether it actually happened or not. And so
Mm-hmm.
for me, it probably depends upon whether you're a young player or a veteran player. I mean,
That's true.
if you're a freshman coming in or a sophomore, well, yeah. I mean, I'll sit on the bench and collect a ring if we're on a championship team because I'm hoping that I'm going to be next in line to lead the team to glory, as I mature and get older. If you're an older player, um, you're going, well, they're not looking at me to develop me to play a big role. I'm just kind of filling a roster spot and helping to get the other guys ready. So I think for me, the joy that I got most out of things was when I had some direct input, whether it was coaching or as a player. I think I'd rather be on the field playing as an okay team, a competitive team, feeling like we have a chance. Now, if it was a lousy team, certainly at your position, I would not want to be a starting quarterback on a lousy team where you're
Yeah.
just getting smashed all the time because the quarterback gets smashed a lot. I was a wide receiver, so I only got smashed a few times a game if it threw the ball in my direction. So it probably also is position specific.
Sure. I like how you related it to as a coach because that's what you have more experience
Sure.
and time doing. I will say now I clearly don't have the coaching experience that you do, but I think that maybe it's not the best comparison mentioning like because in like the youth league obviously it's a lot less structured. Whereas if you were, say, even simply a position coach in on an actual high school or college or even professional team, there's a lot more structure there. And so even as like a lowly position coach, you would have a lot more direct input and influence,
Sure.
even if it's just in the wide receiver room or whatever. Like you would actually be busy, you would actually be an integral part of the
You could make a
program.
difference. Yeah.
Exactly. So from what you have actually experienced, yeah, that's completely valid, but I think the experience would be different had you been even a minor coach in a system, in a structure, in a like level of football where there is more structure,
Sure.
you know.
Yeah. I mean, everybody, what they want to do is be the starter on a championship team,
Of course.
or a team that gets far into the playoffs and makes a good run.
Hmm.
You want to experience that culture. I can tell you that having been my high school senior year, we were middle of the pack. Even though we had more all district players than the two champion teams,
Hmm.
we had all the talent in the world. We were snake bit. We lost our first 5 games of the season, and they were all close, and they were all just you know fluke weird things. Even the local newspaper commented about us that we had so much talent. How are we not winning? And in the second half of the season, we pulled it together, and I think we went 3-1-1 or
Hmm.
something. And we were, our wins were blowouts, and the talent kind of rose to the top, but we were long out of the playoff race. So we were a mediocre team with our record, but we still had good locker room culture.
Sure.
Um, I mean, all the guys got along, and there was, good times and good memories and everything else. But I look at some of these teams around, around Austin here, that we're most familiar with. Some of these high school teams that they're in the playoffs every year. They've got their tradition and the state titles and all that. That probably is a very special feeling to walk into when you see the trophies and the plaques on the wall and you're a freshman
Hmm.
and you're going, okay, it's up to me to uphold the tradition that came before and then pass it on to the next group, right?
Of
Um,
course.
yeah, I mean, I didn't have that in high school, unfortunately. So,
Yeah.
but
Unfortunately, I fell pretty short of that as well. But
but what you were able to do in high school, though, especially your last couple of years, probably set some school records. I doubt any of those have been broken. Um,
I also doubt that they were tracked, so we have no way of knowing.
ah,
Also, in the just fashion of football that I play, and honestly, I wouldn't doubt it if I didn't set school records simply because of just how high scoring it is.
well, yeah, yeah, no doubt, and
You
of
know,
course,
even if there's somebody who maybe didn't have my physical ability and in the same situation as them, I could have replicated, if not well exceeded their numbers. That it was a foreign game to me when I entered into the world of six man football as a junior.
sure.
So I only had, did I have 17 games of six
Uh,
man or 18?
yeah,
I
somewhere in
want
that
to I want to say I
neighborhood.
had 18 games because I hadn't transferred yet by the time they played their first game, and then I had to sit the second game of the season my junior year because like my transfer stuff wasn't done yet, and so then I had 8 games my as a junior, and then I think I had 10 as a senior, right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So in
Um,
those 18 games, I threw for 39 touchdowns and ran for two, I think.
that sounds about right. Yeah, I mean, um, definitely
It's
had
sad that I know that.
definitely definitely had a couple of games where your team was just overmatched and
Hmm.
you weren't able to do. But there was the one game that always stood out was uh, you threw 7 touchdown passes and your team lost.
Lost by like 3 or 4 scores.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't even close. And I remember
Hmm.
posting on Facebook going, "What do you tell your kid after he throws 7 touchdown passes and they lose?" You know,
Hmm.
I mean, good grief. But
Yeah.
no, some great memories. Definitely watching that. Um, I am curious before we get off the topic. I know you want to talk about F1 a little bit, but
We got time.
because you your college career has spanned over 2 different colleges,
Hmm.
and your first 2 years were at a place that really had not had uh, many trophies on the wall, and now you're currently at a place that has a couple of national championships on the wall. So it was, you elevated up and went to different programs. And
Hmm.
I mean, I got to say, the first place that you went, they had pretty good facilities. I was
Hmm.
impressed, despite not having the record of the success. Now the stadium is night and day. The stadium that you had your first 2 years was not even a good high school stadium, and the stadium that you have now is a really really good for the size of the school stadium. Very impressive. I haven't seen any of the other facilities up there, but is the culture? Talk about the difference in the culture when you've got those skins on the wall, even if you were not part of those teams,
Hmm.
and how the guys act versus your first school that didn't have those skins on the wall.
I would say the simplest way to put that is just that at a more successful program with a more decorated history, um, just the standard is so much higher. The expectations are higher. Everything is just more efficient,
Hmm.
if that makes sense. Like it's kind of just to be expected that a better program with more with more reputation, more ability to pull in recruiting, like yeah, there's a noticeable step up in the quality of the athletes that are there. But apart from that, and a lot of that is kind of driven by the coaches. But as far as like the players are, it's fairly similar. I would say that that there is just a step up in quality in terms of just the work that is done
Yeah.
and the player's ability to lock in and get stuff done when it needs to happen. That those are the kind of intangible qualities that you can't really coach as much.
Hmm.
Um, players just listening to directions, being a team, not having these, rebellious people that think that they can do it their own way. Like the higher you go up on the ladder, the more, those types of people fall off.
Hmm.
You don't see them at the top.
Do you notice a difference in the? I know we had discussions, and we intentionally, by the way, don't mention school names because we don't
Hmm.
want to get into the. We're not trying to take shots or even
Hmm.
promote anybody.
Also,
Um,
this,
but
also, I
but you're
kind of avoid it to save my own face because I don't want to get comments of, "Oh, who do you think you are to,
yeah,
be giving your opinion if you didn't go to Alabama?" I'm
right.
like,
Yeah, that's true. But
so.
I remember at your first stop in college that the quarterbacks coach never played quarterback, um, and I'm assuming now the place that you are, it's having a quarterbacks meeting where you're going over film
Hmm.
is very much different when you have
Hmm.
somebody who probably has played the position, has coached it for a long time. um,
Yes. The at my first stop, I like how you say that.
yeah.
At my first stop in the quarterback meetings, I will say that the quarterback coach that I had, yeah, he never played quarterback, not even in high school. In high school, he was a receiver, I think. But he was a career like graduate assistant who then like climbed his way up the coaching ladder.
Yeah.
He never played in college whatsoever.
Hmm.
Um, but I will say it was very clear. The one like good thing I'll say about him was that it was clear that he was passionate about the game and about studying film.
Yeah.
But I feel like just that lack of personal experience playing quarterback and even just playing football into college and like at a further level just deprived him of that innate knowledge and experience. I feel like now that I think about it, the way that he would break down film was much more like somebody who didn't play quarterback and was trying to learn it from the outside.
Yeah.
Whereas, yeah, in my current place, the our quarterback coach and offensive coordinator did play quarterback and has significantly more experience, not only just coaching, but coaching at a much higher level and with much more success.
Yeah.
And so you can kind of feel that in the way that he just knows what he's talking about so much more and is able to just rattle things off and give you answers to anything and explain to you why things make sense and break it down in a way that makes sense to you as a quarterback because he played quarterback, so he knows how the quarterback actually thinks, and so he knows how to get inside your head and make sure things actually stick and make sense.
Yeah. I kind of remember, this is a weird analogy, but when I was a kid, my dad had a pair of binoculars. I'm sure they're probably in one of my closets up here somewhere. I'm sure he gave them to me. But these binoculars had a little dial on the top. And so whatever you were trying to look at, depending upon how far away it was, you had to kind of spin this little dial to get it into focus,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it was really cool because, you could look at something 20 yards away or 50 yards away and you spin the little dial and it would come into focus. And I've
Okay.
always thought that if you have the actual experience, this is probably true not only in football and quarterbacking and anything. If
Mm-hmm.
you've walked in those shoes, your focus is so much sharper and you see things and you understand things. And so you can relate. And so, um, obviously
I
it,
agree
it,
with that.
it has to be, I think about in even in my current profession as an attorney. I mean, uh, there are things that I'll talk to other attorneys about and they have not walked the same path that I have. And so depending upon which legal topic we're on, they have a sharper focus on certain things and I have a sharper focus on my things.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's easier to understand and navigate successfully.
Yeah.
So, um, and then there's also the leadership thing. I personally, if I'm trying to learn from somebody and follow in their direction or in their footsteps, if they've been down that path and they can relate, you were talking about, they can understand what the quarterbacks are thinking and feeling and really put it in terms that they could understand. That's invaluable. There's nothing like experience.
I agree.
Yeah. So, um, all right. So we're 23 minutes in,
Mm-hmm.
and let's briefly touch on your race car world. What's going on there?
So yeah, same deal like I've said the past few episodes. Still waiting for Miami since that there had to be missiles and explosions going off in the Middle East, so we didn't get two races that were supposed to happen this month. But we are we're almost a week away from the first practice session. Anyway, so obviously limited news, no races to kind of update on. Formula One have introduced or said they're going to introduce a few new regulations to do with battery and deployment and all that because one thing that's been a constant I guess negative about the new engine regulations, of course, if you're not up to speed, no pun intended. The For 2026, Formula One did a pretty major overhaul of the regulations, most notably to the engines, where they now are essentially 50-50, with the power coming from traditional internal combustion engine and electrical power. And this battery that provides the electrical power runs out pretty quickly. And so you'll see on longer flat out straightaway sections during races, and even most notably during qualifying. Like when drivers would get to the end of a straight, their battery power has run out, and so even while their foot is still pressed all the way to the floor, they're losing speed.
Huh.
And so that's something that, has been a major point of complaining among fans and drivers alike, that this is not good. This is not racing. This is not fun. It's made everything about, like, oh, how much battery do I have? How much battery does the person in front of me have? Can I attack them? When do I use my battery? When do I recharge? Is it better to lift off the gas earlier before I normally would going into a corner so I can start recharging my battery? Like, you're having to think about all these other, like, technical battery related nonsense rather than just good hard nosed racing,
Hmm.
like a lot of people are used to and like a lot of people prefer. So they're changing it up to allow better and more efficient recovery of the battery is kind of the most notable thing, so that they're not having to spend as much time trying to recharge their battery. They're able to do it quicker,
Hmm.
essentially. So it's not quite as much, hopefully, this game of cat and mouse of deploy and recharge. Um, I'm still not convinced that it's really going to fix a whole lot, because I think this is a fundamental issue with the regulations, and they're leaning too far into electrical power as opposed to using the tried and true, internal combustion engine that we've been using for over 100 years in cars, and simply using what a lot of people are suggesting they use, which is more like environmentally friendly fuels
Hmm.
and efficient fuel, if they are so determined to try and reduce emissions, even though they take a million different flights all around the world, which produces a lot more air pollution, but not going to get into that. Um, Another topic that has been a topic of concern for me personally as a Max Verstappen fan is that he didn't really like these regulations. And he is in a position where if he doesn't like Formula One, he's not going to stick around. He doesn't have anything else to prove. He doesn't have anything else that he needs to achieve to prove his greatness. And he has other things that he could be doing that he is finding enjoyment in, like other racing series, like doing simulated racing. Like on the video game, they actually have like competitive scenes for that as well. Um, so like he doesn't need to if he doesn't want to. But he was asked in an interview the other day if he would prefer to win a fifth Formula One World Championship or to win the 24 Hours of Le Mans, which the 24 Hours of Le Mans is an endurance race. It's like the biggest endurance race in the world, one of the biggest and most famous races in the world, which, like, every competitive racing driver, it's like one of their dreams to win that race. So it is a good sign if Max is saying that a fifth world championship is more important to him than that. That is a good sign that he's not going to just give up and go run off and do something else so quickly.
Okay.
Another thing that I didn't mention to you earlier when we talked on the phone a little bit, I did talk to you about that, um, is and I actually, this would be good. I don't know how much you know about like laws involving taxes, but
Not my specialty, but
well, you went to law school, so you probably know more than me. Apparently, the government in Italy are more or less chasing after most active Formula One drivers for tax evasion.
hmm.
Because apparently for Formula One, and I'm not sure if this applies to other sports as well, but I know it does in Formula One, where apparently you are supposed to say you have a race in a country, well, like Italy. um, no matter like how much money you make elsewhere throughout the rest of the year, whatever money you make for racing in Italy, obviously, because they, get paid for racing, of
Sure.
course, that's their job. Whatever money that you get paid for specifically racing in Italy while you're there, the Italian government wants to tax them a
Hmm.
certain amount
Hmm.
um, of that money because they're making money while in that country. Now,
Yeah.
this is why most Formula One drivers decide to live in Monaco, which is known as a tax haven,
Hmm.
where I believe they don't have income tax, and so this allows them to largely avoid paying these large tax amounts. But supposedly, is a felony offense in Italy if these supposed tax amounts exceed £50,000 or whatever, which obviously, with the amount of money that F1 drivers make, it's going to.
Well,
And
sure.
so now, there's this buzz on social media that, oh, like almost all of the F1 drivers could be getting arrested. And now, are they actually gonna get arrested? No.
That'd be a public relations nightmare.
It certainly would be, and I think the entire country of Italy would be burned to the ground in a week. Um,
Okay.
but it's just an interesting thing. I'd like to get your take as an attorney, even if this isn't your specialty, on
Ah,
what you think of the matter.
yeah. So in law, there's a thing called selective enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an argument that is used very much, but essentially it is there in the books. And I mean, I am not licensed in Italian law either, by the
Mm-hmm.
way. Let me say that up front, or even international law. Um,
You mean not yet?
well, no, ever. I have no desire to. But uh, if there's a law in the books and prosecutors only use it when they feel like it and kind of single out a group, there
Mm-hmm.
is at least a legal argument that could be made of selective enforcement. I mean, imagine if you had a police officer, just a common scenario,
Mm-hmm.
sitting there with a radar gun, and the speed limit's 40, and you're going to ticket anybody. They'll usually give you 5 miles an hour over, but they're going to ticket anybody who's 50 miles an hour and over.
Mm-hmm.
If you could prove that, well, gee, that police officer had 20 people that went 50 miles an hour or over that he could have ticketed, but he only ticketed people with, yeah, let's pick on bald people. He only ticketed bald people, right?
I wonder why you're using that example.
Well, no, I've got plenty of hair on my head, just not all over. Um, but for whatever, if you could prove, hey, he just had a bias against this particular group of people and was letting a lot of people break the law and was only enforcing against this particular group, it's a legal argument that could be made. And so if they were to go just say, well, hey, we're just going to go after the race car drivers,
Mm-hmm.
you might find a judge who says, you know what, that's right. The prosecutors are abusing or misusing their authority here. Because law is supposed to be, they say justice is supposed to be blind, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not supposed to select out any particular group and say, well, we're going to penalize you, but there's this other group over here that we prefer or we like more or we're not biased against, and so we're going to let them slide. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the first thing that comes to mind when you say, there's talk, oh, maybe they'll arrest all the race car drivers. um, I think I could address it more because before I went to law school I was in the media,
Mm-hmm.
in the news media. Yeah, public relations nightmare.
Oh yeah.
If they believe me, the they say that a lot of people say that they don't watch the news or they're not influenced by the news, but if there was some reason to believe that your agency that you were running was showing a bias and it suddenly was on the news all the time, there's a lot of pressure being brought to the people who run that agency and their bosses. Everybody has a boss. And so I don't see that as a reality, either from a legal standpoint or from you know, from the just public perception and news media. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I'm not sitting here asking you about it because I'm afraid Max Verstappen's going to get arrested. I more so
No.
brought it up as a funny
Sure.
little thing.
Okay.
I also find it funny. I saw a post on Twitter yesterday, I think. It was talking about this, and they commented, "Oh, real convenient that all this stuff with Italy comes out as soon as Italian Kimi Antonelli starts leading the championship."
Hmm.
Like, oh yeah, we're gonna go arrest all his competition.
Yeah. That's funny, but I don't see that being real.
Yeah,
Um,
no,
for our final segment,
we
I know usually we talk about it before the show, but
didn't.
I thought of something
Okay,
during the show, like in the last 10 minutes.
all right,
Uh, And I don't even know if we make it a competition. We just kind of we collaborate and see how many of these we can come up with together.
okay.
And since you've got a computer right there, you could probably, when we're done, do a quick Google search and see how many we got. I think if we could come up with 80%, we'd be pretty good, right?
All right.
So here's my topic: Super Bowl winners who either won the Heisman Trophy or were the number one pick in the draft.
Ooh, okay.
I don't know how many there are, and don't look it up yet. Let's see how many we can come up with. You either had to be the number one pick in the draft who won a Super Bowl or a Heisman Trophy winner who won a Super Bowl.
Okay.
And, you know, since it's my topic and I brought it up, I'll let you go first. And I know the most obvious one in our world.
Which I'll let you have because I'll start with Matthew Stafford.
And you got to say which one he
He was
was.
the number one overall pick.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate your graciousness of, you know, a 12th round pick who won the Heisman Trophy and is, you know, the favorite among all favorites for this show and for you and me. Number 12, Dallas Cowboy, Captain America, Roger Staubach.
Can you explain for the folks at home how could a Heisman Trophy winner slip to the 12th round?
Yeah, he played for Navy and he had to play, he had to commit 4 years after college to being in the Navy, at least at the time. I mean, that's what the rule was. And
Yeah.
despite being a fantastic player, I mean, they didn't know, gee, after 4 years, what kind of shape is he going to be in? Is he even going to be able to play?
Yeah.
So the Cowboys just, you know, they had a 12th round pick and they said, why not, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it worked out pretty well for him.
Yeah.
Okay. So we
Okay.
got Matthew Stafford, and yes, Roger was a Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah. I will say another Heisman Trophy winner in Devonta Smith
Okay, and he won a Super Bowl with the Eagles,
with the
obviously.
Eagles, unfortunately.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's never a good day when the Eagles win a Super Bowl. Speaking as
Mm-hmm.
a Cowboys fan. All right, well, right there in the backfield with Roger Staubach, Heisman Trophy winner, not the number one pick, but close.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Dorsett.
Do they have to be a starter? Like for the Super Bowl? Can they have won a ring on the
They
bench?
they could have won a ring on the bench. Yep.
Cool. I'll go with number one overall pick, Drew Bledsoe. He was
Yeah,
number one, right?
I believe he was. Yeah.
All right, cool.
So that was when Brady. Yeah, but he
Mm-hmm.
was injured.
Yeah,
Um,
Tom Brady was the one that won the Super Bowl, but Bledsoe was still there.
right. Um, so Heisman Trophy winner who flamed out with his first few teams, and then suddenly caught fire with the Raiders as a quarterback and won 2 Super Bowls and is largely forgotten and had a really good deep ball. Humble guy, didn't draw a lot of attention to himself, but Jim Plunkett.
Okay. I'll go with a man who excuse me, maybe could have been seen as one of the Cowboys' number one enemies throughout the 70s for depriving Roger of possibly 2 more rings. Number one overall pick in the 1970 NFL draft, Terry Bradshaw.
Yeah, yeah, and he was actually awful in the beginning because the
Yeah, he got off really
Steelers were
slow.
building and he was throwing interceptions. And interesting thing about Bradshaw, and you know this from a young age, he had a different way of holding the football.
Yeah, he threw javelin in college, and so pretend as the football, he would like have his pointer finger on the like rear tip of the football if he was like
Yeah,
throwing it this way.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I don't know of any other quarterback that ever did that.
I've
But
done it a few times messing around,
of
but
course, well, at one point you decided you were going to be an ambidextrous quarterback, and you were practicing throwing left-handed too.
yeah, and you kept complaining that you didn't like catching it left-handed because it spun weird. I'm like,
You,
shut up and just catch the ball. Don't deprive me
there's
of my
hey,
dream.
as a wide receiver, it does feel different. um
Oh, it
jerry
does.
Jerry Rice talked about that when he switched from Joe Montana to Steve Young,
hmm
that he had to learn the spin. Okay.
hmm
So Heisman Trophy winner who won a Super Bowl, Desmond Howard.
Okay, and he also won Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, he did.
hmm Um, okay, another number one overall pick that won a Super Bowl, Peyton Manning.
Oh, clearly. Yeah, he should have won the Heisman too. He got robbed.
Yeah.
Um, okay, number one overall pick. Since you said Peyton, let's go with his brother, Eli Manning.
hmm There you go. Um, hmm. Unfortunately, Jared Goff lost the Super Bowl. Um, who else was the number one overall pick? Ooh, didn't Marcus Allen win the Heisman?
Absolutely.
And we'll go with Marcus Allen.
Okay, he was in the backfield with Jim Plunkett.
hmm
So it was a heck of a team there. Um, so let me think. Another number one pick who won the Super Bowl was Charles Woodson.
He was the number one overall pick.
Sorry, Heisman
Yeah, he was a
Trophy.
Heisman.
Sorry, Heisman. Yeah, Heisman Trophy winner. He won a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Well, Troy Aikman. We haven't said him. He was the number one overall pick.
Yep, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to go with Bruce Smith, but he lost 4 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
So what about Reggie White?
Was he a number one pick?
I'm pretty sure he
You want
didn't
me
win
to
a
look it up?
Heisman. Yeah, look it up and see. I think when Reggie White came out, I think he was the number one overall pick.
He was the fourth overall pick. Ooh.
Really?
Try again.
Who'd they pick ahead of Reggie White?
1984 supplemental draft.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Does that even count?
eh.
I don't think supplemental draft would count.
Regardless, you gotta pick again because he wasn't the number one
Okay.
overall pick in that either.
All right, fine. John Elway.
I was gonna say John Elway. Dang it.
Ha ha ha.
Well, we're working together.
Yeah, I know. We're collaborating here.
Shoot.
The thing is, we could run out of actual names and not know it until we stop and look it up. How many?
Yeah.
You're going to have to look up how many Heisman winners won the Super Bowl and how many first round draft picks won the Super Bowl.
Yeah. OJ never won a Super Bowl. Joe Burrow hasn't won a Super Bowl.
since we're collaborating and it doesn't matter, kind of we're not necessarily
Can
having
I
to go back and
pass?
forth. Yeah, I'm trying to remember because this was before my time. Did Paul Hornig win the Heisman Trophy for before he went to the Packers?
He won in 1956.
There you go.
Johnny Unitas certainly was the first overall pick, wasn't he?
Actually, Johnny Unitas was a practice squad player for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, that's right. Okay, then Joe
Yeah,
Namath was, right? He had to have been. No,
he
Joe Namath won the Heisman, didn't he?
no, no.
No, he didn't. Oh my gosh.
No.
Wow, wow.
I think there's probably more. I,
There
I
has to be.
I wonder if there's more when we look it up here at the end. What do you think? Are there more number one overall picks who won a Super Bowl or Heisman Trophy winners who won the Super Bowl? I think
Probably
number one
number one.
overall
Yeah,
pick.
probably number one overall. Wait, does Reggie Bush count
Um,
since they took it away?
yeah, I mean he won a Super Bowl with New Orleans,
Count
and
it.
he won the Heisman.
Count
So
it.
yeah, I'm counting it. I think he actually got it reinstated. I think he took it to court.
I think
Um,
he may have, yeah.
yeah. Um, trying to just think of guys who either won the Heisman or were the number one overall pick. I'm starting to get a little stuck because Lawrence Taylor, believe it or not, was not the number one overall pick.
Not looking at any names here, but
Yeah.
18 to 19 players drafted with the number one overall pick have gone to win the Super Bowl. I don't know why that's not a concrete number. Now, how many Heisman Trophy winners won a Super Bowl? 12. And
So
again, not looking at.
no, so we were right.
Mm-hmm.
There's more number one overall picks.
Because my thought process with that was like a lot of Heisman winners just like flamed out in the NFL, you know?
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them badly.
Yeah.
Kind of starting to run out of names.
Mm-hmm.
There will probably be somebody who pops up on that list. We go, oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't think of them. So let's Google search first, since how many Heisman Trophy winners have won a Super Bowl, and see if they come up with a list and tell us who we missed.
All right. So we got Heisman winners in the Super Bowl. When is this from? Heisman winner in 22 of the first 58 Super Bowls, 21 different players on Super Bowl rosters. A combined 11 Heisman winners have won a total of 13 Super Bowls, Roger Staubach and Jim Plunkett being the only repeat winners. So yeah, we have Paul Hornung with the Green Bay Packers in Super Bowl I.
Yep.
Billy Cannon lost in Super Bowl II.
Losers don't count.
I know. I'm just on the Heisman website right now, and so it gives like the full history of winners and losers.
Okay.
Super Bowl IV, Mike Garrett of the Kansas City Chiefs and John Huarte of the Kansas City Chiefs, which they won that Super Bowl. So there were two of them on the winning team.
Really random. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Then it's a lot of Staubach and Dorsett. Jim Plunkett, Archie Griffin lost. Marcus Allen and Jim Plunkett. George Rogers of the Washington Redskins
he was a backup.
He ran for 17 yards on 5. I mean, Drew Bledsoe was the number one overall pick, and he was a backup. So
Yeah. Okay.
Desmond Howard, Eddie George lost. Ron Dane lost. Tim Brown, Charles Woodson, they
Oh,
both
Tim
lost that
Brown.
one.
Yeah, Tim Brown
Well, they
didn't ever win
lost
a
to
Super
that.
Bowl.
No, Tim Brown never won a Super Bowl, I don't think.
Huh? I didn't know that. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Charles Woodson would go on to win one with the Packers.
Packers.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Um, Chris Winkie lost. Matt Leinart lost. Reggie Bush won. Uh, Charles Woodson won. Cam Newton lost. Joe Burrow lost. Devonta Smith won, and that's the. I mean, this one goes past Super Bowl 58.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh.
other than those two from random names from the Kansas City Super Bowl
Mm-hmm.
four, we pretty much got the Heisman winners
Mm-hmm.
who won a Super Bowl. And John Huarte or whatever, I don't even think I've ever heard his name in all these years.
Yep.
Okay.
Now,
Number one
yep.
overall
Now, number
picks
one overall picks.
who have won a Super Bowl.
18 of them supposedly.
All right.
With
This one will probably feel stupid because there's probably a few obvious names that we just didn't come up
Paul
with.
Hornung, actually a repeat because he also won the Heisman, but he
Yeah.
was also the number one overall pick.
Yeah.
Bubba Smith of
With
the
Colts. Yeah. Yeah.
Terry Bradshaw, Jim Plunkett, John Matuzak
He was with the Raiders.
of the Raiders.
Yeah. I didn't know he was. That was before I watched. He was Too Tall Jones. Oh my gosh, he was the number one overall pick. And Russell Maryland for the Cowboys.
He's not here. George Rogers.
Well,
won it with the Redskins.
Yeah.
John Elway, Troy.
I can't believe I didn't think of Too Tall Jones.
You just said Russell Maryland, Drew Bledsoe, Keyshawn Johnson was on the Buccaneers when they won their first Super Bowl.
That's actually true. Yeah, I always think of him as a Jet or a Cowboy, but he was on the Bucs for a while.
Orlando Pace with the Rams, offensive tackle.
Yeah, Hall of Fame.
Peyton Manning,
greatest show on turf.
The 2002 first overall pick has a Super Bowl ring.
Okay.
David Carr.
Oh man, that shouldn't count.
With the Giants.
I mean, we talked earlier in the thing about what if you're a backup on a team and don't.
Yeah, I said Drew Bledsoe. It's here on the website.
Yeah. Okay.
Eli Manning, we said him. Matthew Stafford said him. Eric Fisher seems to be the most recent one.
Is he an offensive lineman?
Yeah, he was an offensive lineman with the Chiefs.
Huh.
Yeah. So we missed quite a few of those. We missed
not too many. The only ones I feel bad about. 4, I did say 5, Russell Maryland before 6, you read it off. So the only one I really
9. We missed half of them.
The only one I feel bad about is Too Tall Jones, because I actually, when I was in the news media, I actually rode on a bus with him from Midland to Big Spring, Texas, out in West Texas, because he was there for a charity basketball game. He was retired. He was part of the retired Dallas Cowboys charity basketball team, and he was on the bus that I rode on, and I interviewed him. For how long does it take to get from Midland to Big Spring? 45 minutes. I've
never been.
Well, but I interviewed several Dallas Cowboys on that little, I say bus, it was minivan, but yeah, I mean, I grew up watching Too Tall Jones, and he's kind of a soft-spoken, not a real loud guy, kind of pretty humble for a dude who's 6'9". And could just swallow up a quarterback, dominant player, and also a pretty good professional boxer. We talked about before. He left at the height of his career to go box for 2 years, and then came back and played like another 8 or 9 years. And really super guy, number 72, man. He was impossible to throw over for quarterbacks, so they put him at left defensive end. When quarterbacks tried to throw the right, he was swatting passes, like he was Shaquille O'Neal or something over there. And anyway, that one I feel bad about because not only do I know the guy, I was not, in my defense, a football fan. I was too young when he was drafted number one overall. So
Yeah.
that's about the only defense I have. Anyway, it's a good topic. I think we did pretty well considering hadn't really had any time to think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of sprung this one up out of nowhere, which I'm glad you did. It was good. It was admittedly I had also thought of one, and I just remembered it right now. I was about to say I forgot. It was also maybe a little more of a collaborative thing and maybe more discussion based, but just how many current active NFL players do you think are like surely going to make the Hall of Fame one day?
Oh yeah,
We
no,
we can save that for next week.
yeah, that's a good topic, and somewhere down the road, Super Bowl losing quarterbacks.
Like ones that just have lost one, or ones that never won one, that only lost.
Um, Even if they won one, if they lost one, they make the list. So,
All right.
like for example, Kurt Warner won one and
Mm-hmm.
lost one, so
Yep.
he would make the list.
He lost two actually.
Uh, yeah,
Cardinals.
that's actually true. Yeah, one
Mm-hmm.
with the Rams and the Cardinals. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, Super Bowl losing quarterbacks, and I also like your topic as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll throw those out.
Oh yeah.
All right, so our 30-minute show has now run 56 and a half minutes.
Mm-hmm. As it always does.
Yeah, we tend to run long, but
Yeah.
voice is given out, so time to say sayonara.
What percent battery is your phone on?
39.
I feel like I'm gonna start asking you that at the end of every show because you don't plug your phone in while you do this.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. My computer is not on battery.
Yeah,
My phone's on 83%.
yeah. I'm about to go
For what
plug
it's
my
worth.
phone back in.
All right, me too.
All
All
right.
right. Well, thank you for tuning in. If you made it this far, we really appreciate it. And come back next week for some more interesting topics.
Yep. God bless.
Yep.